Strong grid. Marshals moving away from the side of the track. The race start is about to get underway. They look towards the green flag. Who will get a good start? Can Evan Belford break the ducks? They get underway now, gets a good start from pole position into the lead for the first time out of 12, but Casey O'Gorman tries to follow him through. They've already broken away from the rest of the pack, all battling for third place as they make their way into the infield for the first time out of 12. It just looks like Evan Belford holding off Casey O'Gorman, but for how long? Looking at the inside at the corkscrew, not quite at this moment.
Evan Belford leading O'Gorman, Bailey Stewart Campbell third, but Finn Smart without doubt getting one of the best starts there. Fourth for him, fifth is Sean Abel. Can't quite see who sixth might be. Dylan or Owen Mellor, that'll be, I think. I'm not going to guess until we get round, but Evan Belford shooting off into the lead for now. Casey O'Gorman has got work to do here if he wants to win and keep the record up in the class as he comes through. Evan Belford is leading this race just from Casey O'Gorman. Bailey Stewart Campbell third, Finn Smart under pressure from Sean Abel fourth and fifth respectively, but the two out front are breezing clear. O'Gorman just looking up the inside, not able to make the move stick that time around.
Giving it a good go though, into the corkscrew for the second time out of 12, just waiting behind the number 52. Still got some good space on Bailey Stewart Campbell, so they can afford to fight a little bit but not really attack as long as they work together to break the even small gap they've got at the moment. Through Devil's Elbow for the second time, really transitioning the bike through here. Very physical effort, and these young riders managing it with aplomb. Over the line again though, Bailey Stewart Campbell still third, but Casey O'Gorman only 0.180. It is still the fastest lap though for Evan Belford, only by a couple of hundredths, but that's all you need. Casey O'Gorman giving it a good go, maybe at the inside, can't quite make it through as there's a yellow flag down at Devil's Elbow. Marshall's going over to the rider standing up, just trying to get the bike back onto the wheels. But meanwhile, as our race leaders approach that yellow flag zone, no overtaking then. We'll have to wait for a while. Marshall's moving the bike out of the way, but this is where you've got to really restrain yourself because you can't attack. There's a yellow flag, so you've got to wait. That patience then maybe might not be there for too long. Casey O'Gorman considering a move into the final corner. It's such a difficult place to make a move, decides not to, but it's fourth place. Finn Smart also holding off three other riders. He's got Sean Abel behind, as well as Owen Mellor and Rossi Banham, fourth, fifth, sixth and seventh as they make their way down towards turn 2 and 3 once again. Side by side, can't quite make the position. Evan Belford though defending for his life on Casey O'Gorman into the corkscrew, and it's really having to challenge for the race lead. Casey O'Gorman maybe doesn't have an answer at the moment as the green flags wave around the circuit.
O'Gorman not getting through as quickly as I thought he would. Evan Belford still leading so far. Bailey Stewart Campbell likewise not breaking Finn Smart like I thought he would. So Finn Smart having a brilliant ride, has been riding very well all year, and looking for that first podium, and he isn't far away from it with 8 laps to go. Evan Belford isn't far away from his first win in the class. At the moment he's leading. Casey O'Gorman second. I think Casey's sandbagging into that turn 4. Is it Spoon Corner, the hairpin? He looks better on the brakes, and if he wanted to I think he could run it up the inside, but at the moment he hasn't, so he's still second. Evan Belford leading the race as they sweep up towards turn 6 and 7. Hard braking area, difficult section of circuits. It's just 3 right-handers back to back, because now you start the S's, and Evan Belford just blocking Casey O'Gorman where you need to be blocking him, because that is affecting his line all the way through down to the straight, and he can't make the move on the straight, and that's crucial. Evan Belford leads another lap.
It's very difficult, as you say, for Casey O'Gorman. Can't quite make it through. Only just a fast lap from Evan Belford, matched just about by Casey O'Gorman. They're pretty much identical on times, but Casey O'Gorman might not be going for that late move down the inside of Spoon Corner, the right-handed hairpin, because he knows he just can't keep Evan Belford behind anywhere else. So you can be good at one part of the circuit, but you can be not quite as good at the other parts of the circuit, saying that Casey O'Gorman still restrained by Evan Belford in the lead of the race so far, but it doesn't matter really. Evan Belford's in the lead. That's all that's going to count come the end of the season, is the amount of wins, the amount of points you have tallied up. Bailey Stewart-Campbell still making third place his own, but Finn's mark keeping Sean Abel, Anna O'Malley and Rossi Banham at bay. Only just so, and a great defensive ride from Finn as well. Side by side for the race lead. Half distance at the moment. Evan Belford just holding on to Casey O'Gorman. Been fighting going into Spoon Curve every single lap for the last 6 laps. On this one, it is no exception, but a lot closer going into the corkscrew than he has been previously.
Belford riding very, very wisely, not taking an extreme inside, not taking a sweeping line. He's just riding the middle of the course. Bit unpredictable that, if you're Casey O'Gorman, don't know what way to go, don't know what or where. Evan's stronger than him, and this is what we mean. Into that last bit now, it's so one line. If you can just hold Casey back till then, you know, you've got a chance then. But not just that, Evan's also lapping quicker than Casey O'Gorman, so he'd probably get him back as well. We're in for a bit of a dogfight here, head to head. Evan Belford leads Casey O'Gorman. Again, nothing in it last time around. Half a tenth in O'Gorman's favour. Finn Smart is all over the rear end of Bailey Stewart-Campbell. Must have been a mistake from Stewart-Campbell because it wasn't that close a lap ago. Finn Smart thinking about a move, not quite able to pull it off. So we've got a big battle for the lead. That's Belford and O'Gorman, and then a big battle for third. Bailey Stewart-Campbell, Finn Smart, Sean Abel. Then it's Owen Mellor and Rossi Banham. So a 5-way dice for the last rostrum place. 5 into 1 certainly does not go. Evan Belford is still holding on from Casey O'Gorman. Oh, there's contact. They did touch. Evan Belford and Casey O'Gorman have tangled together. And I don't know what happened, but either way, O'Gorman has took the lead. Is it raining out there?
It is raining.
It's definitely sprinkling with rain. This is going to be a very difficult situation. They're going to be so tentative now as they come through.
Down has gone, Sean Abel. Red flag has come out. Rider down at the final corner. And everyone's going really, really tepidly over the last half a lap. The rain has all of a sudden come out of absolutely nowhere.
It was coming up over the hills. I was just about to mention that at the start of the race. It wasn't a monster coming over the hill. It was rain and lots of it. And we've got a red flag now. Now then, what happens here? Do we go back a lap? Because not everyone has completed the last lap. We've got the top 6 completing 8 laps and the rest of them completing 7 laps. Taylor Lawrence completing 6 laps. Do we go back a lap till the last lap everyone was on? If so, Evan Belford, to the delight of his mother, would be the race winner. Casey O'Gorman, if not, would be your race winner if they go across the line the last time around. 4 laps to go as Sean Abel is attended to down there in the ambulance, so all hopefully is going to get okay. We'll come back to that later, but what a race that was shaping up to be. But the rain has spoiled things. Dramatic day in Glan-Y-Gors.
Well, they're all waiting in the paddock at the moment. They're waiting just in the holding area for the officials to make a decision. The last time that we had this, which was the last time out we were at Red Lodge, the rain just came down all of a sudden mid-race. They declared it a wet race, and they called the race from the very beginning, so they restarted the race totally. But it's going back 1 lap, and Belford then has won that first mini GP70 race of the weekend then.
Casey O'Gorman defeated. Evan Belford takes a win. Yes, there's a lot of shock around the paddock now. Not only has Casey O'Gorman lost that perfect record, but Evan Belford, his nearest rival, has spoiled it. So Evan Belford, the winner of the first mini GP70 race of the day. Casey O'Gorman and Bailey Stewart-Campbell will join him on the podium. Finn Smart, a very smart ride in 4th, and not able to quite take it. Sean Abel completes the top 5. Owen Mellor was 6th. Rossi Banham was 7th. James Rose rose to 8th ahead of Jack Kirsch. Saffron Watley in 10th. Holly Harris 11th. Elliot Crosby 12th. Taylor Lawrence and Kyle Payne will be classed as 13th and 14th. But what a race as rain interrupts play then. No, it's not a tennis match, but it was back and forth. Casey O'Gorman not this time able to get game, set and match on Evan Belford. 2 races to come tomorrow.
All comments, all complaints, please do come to the top of the cafe where we are situated.
Kiko at motorsport.media.
Kiko at motorsport.media. Please do also pop up to the commentary box and where you can come and have a chat with us if you want to come and tell us about your races, any stories in the paddocks. Please also leave your comments below on social media. Have you been enjoying this race so far? Let us know. We're live here from round 6 of the 2018 FAB-Racing British Mini Bike Championships from Glan-Y-Gors, the official partner series to the BSB, and on the road to MotoGP, all still to come.
This is FAB-Racing. Live coverage all season on the FAB-Racing Facebook page and on the website FAB-Racing.com.
A paddock announcement. This has now been declared a wet race. So for all sessions having not raced, this is now declared a wet race. So you are free to choose the wet tyres. We're getting underway at 20 past. So we'll be getting underway in 18 minutes time. Anyway, as you join us on the social media, thank you very much for everyone's comments so far. Just a highlight of them. We've got James Shaw saying, "Is Sean okay?" We'll try and bring you as much information as we can when we get it. But Ibby Watley saying, "Well done, Evan," and come on, Safi 178, and also Tracy Beagley saying hello to Dude 146. So thanks to all your comments so far. Plenty of action still to come here from the 6th round of 8 from the 2018 FAB-Racing British Mini Bikes Championships. The AC40 Pros Kiko will be out in about 15 minutes time after being declared a wet race. Started really to come down now. We've got Mason Foster and Sullivan Mounsey, and when we spoke to Sullivan Mounsey this morning, if you didn't get the privilege of hearing that, then go over to the FAB-Racing website and onto Motorsport Radio, where you can catch up on not just that interview but all of the weekend's action on the commentary. Well, he said earlier that he quite enjoyed it. He wouldn't mind if it rained, and we weren't expecting rain, but lo and behold, it's rained. So it could be maybe Sullivan's day. Touch wood, maybe? Or will Mason Foster just ace it like he so often does? Your thoughts, Kiko?
I think Sullivan Mounsey would have been there in the dry or in the wet. This rain was due to come at 5 o'clock. I said that by the time we back from lunch, it'll be here at 3 o'clock. And it's gone straight through at 4 o'clock. But as our producer just said, it's 5 o'clock European time.
Central European time, of course.
Central European time, of course, not Eastern Europe, which is what do they class that as now? Kazakhstan now, I suppose. But anyway, back to the motorcycles and the Glan-Y-Gors. We're in Europe. It is our away day. We are in the European country of Wales. And Mason Foster, as you say, on pole from Sullivan Mounsey. About a second in it, but the big battle for me looks like it could be from third backwards. 53.8 for Troy Jeffrey, 53.9 for Luca Hopkins, 53.9 for Ronnie Harris. That is going to be the big battle for third place. Maybe Sullivan could make something of Mason Foster in the leading two positions. Of course, last time it rained, Sullivan did take out Mason Foster when it rained, so hopefully that doesn't happen again. Doreen Long says, good luck to our grandson, Rossi Banham. So, Rossi Banham, plenty of support back home for you. Let's hope that he can deliver a good race. Let's see what happens, though. We have got a little bit of an interval here. That is because of the rain that has decided to cast aspersions right at the wrong point. And we've got a few races left to run. 3, I believe, at the moment. AC40 Pros, PB140s and motor teams, and senior mini motos. Now, of course, we can't fill for all this time. Come and have a chat with us, parents, organisers. Of course, organisers are going to be mega busy at the moment, but riders, if you want to come up and have a little chat with us, you are more than welcome to. If you want to come and compliment how good the music was earlier today with all of the 80s, you are more than welcome to. Come and let us know how good everything is. Get out of the rain. This is your time to shine.
It's nice and warm as well.
It's too warm.
So please do come up and dry yourself off for a few moments. The rain does look like it's not really coming down very hard at the moment, so it might have just been a brief spell, which might only really affect 1, maybe 2 races, but that's just about enough to really spice things up. Not that the Cool Fab Racing needed any more action.
Not today, no. It's been absolutely blisteringly hot.
Blisteringly hot on track. In the action, not quite is the rest of the stuff. We've got Mike Elm saying, what time is sidecars? Unfortunately, Mike, you have missed it. They were out just 2 races ago, but if you wanted to hear the coverage of the last one, then go over to motorsport.radio and on the Cool Fab Racing website and go and catch up on all of the action from this weekend and for 2018 itself.
Exciting times. Everyone loves a bit of a rain shower. It is rain, though. Unfortunately, that has stopped play today. It is, although it doesn't look like it's coming down hard, it probably is going to make you a little bit wet, and therefore the track is going to be a little bit wet. Hello to everyone who is tuned in. Lisa Brown, thank you for giving us the like that we wanted. Everyone, just get involved, share it around, let everyone know how well your kids or your sons or your dads and mums are doing here at this racing circus called the Cool Fab Paddock. It really is fun and excitement all of the way. And of course, the fun doesn't stop here. You can go to motorsport.radio, you can enjoy our content, you can even work out why I think elephants could be the saviour of world superbikes. But of course, that is not what we're here for, is it? No, we're not Countryfile, although we have the setting to be one. It is motorcycles.
Meanwhile, in the next few weeks, Motorsport Radio incredibly busy, and we'll have some exclusive stuff on the Superbike show every Thursday, normally from 8, including the MotoGP British GP preview. That is going to be one thing you will absolutely not want to miss, Kiko Giles, will it?
No, you won't want to miss either the preview or the British Grand Prix, I should say. It's going to be a belter. Silverstone is going to be very, very fun indeed. It always is one of the best races, but of course before that we have the small metal of the Austrian Grand Prix coming from the Red Bull Ring, formerly the A1 Ring, formerly the Österreich Ring and Zeltweg. So it's gone through its name changes in the past, but the most boring circuit on the MotoGP calendar, hosting the Austrian Grand Prix this weekend. It's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Of course, we will be reviewing all of that on the Superbike show in a couple of weeks' time. And if you want to join the conversation, of course, the conversation doesn't stop when we end the Superbike show. It carries on. Join the debate. Join us and our thoughts. At M-Sport Radio is Twitter. Facebook is Motorsport Radio. Julian Ryder even joined the conversation and said why the Mexican Grand Prix won't go ahead. Go and have a little watch back of that. That's the Superbike show in a nutshell.
Plenty of action. You can catch up with Kiko Giles and Lester Forbes on the Superbike show. For those of you who tuned in and are interested by the cool Fab Racing we got on offer, but dabble in a bit of car racing as well, we are live at Snetterton from Friday for the 2018 Citroën 2CV 24-hour race. That will be on motorsport.radio. And surprisingly, yes, they do last that long, so that will be live from Friday. Still plenty of action to come. Both worlds on Motorsport Radio, your place for 2 wheels, 4 wheels, and everything else, and anything else in between, really.
Well, it is the 21st century, and there will be 3-wheel cars. How dare you not think of that?
Yeah,
sidecars are classed as motorcycles, though, in a way. They've just got a car on the side, hence sidecar. Where's the Unicycling Championship? That's what I want to know.
If people are listening either live online or trackside, there is someone talking into Kiko's ear, which is why he's not just having a conversation with himself. We do have a producer who is talking to us and feeds back to us every once in a while. Just sometimes it appears that Kiko might be talking to himself for you, dear listener, and believe me, you don't want that. But thank you very much for tuning in to live coverage of round 6 of the 2018 Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bike Championships, live from Glan-Y-Gors in Wales. And as the official partner series to the BSB and on the road to MotoGP, it had been some great racing so far and plenty of action still to come.
The original and best British Championships for mini bikes. This is Cool Fab Racing.
Attention paddock, please make sure that the AC40 pros are in the holding area by 20 past 4. That is 20 past 4, or 7 minutes time for the AC40 pros to be in the holding area so we can get the race underway as quickly as possible. Just a reminder to the paddock, that you need to be in the holding area for 20 past 4 for the next race, the Junior AC40 Pros. Junior AC40 Pros in the holding area by 20 past 4. You have 7 minutes. For the next race, the Junior AC40.
build up the original and best British championships for mini bikes. This is Cool Fab Racing.
Live coverage of the 2018 Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bike Championships continues at round 6 at Glan-Y-Gors of the 8-round season. But it's not the only bike action this weekend, Kiko Giles. I believe that their thing called MotoGP is at Austria this weekend for the Grand Prix. It's been very wet over the course of the weekend so far, but it did dry out for qualifying.
The Austrian Grand Prix coming from the Red Bull Ring. The Austrian Grand Prix has had a few different hosts of circuit in the past. Best one I'd say was the Salzburg Ring. That was back in the early 90s. At the moment, looking difficult for Yamaha. Valentino Rossi way down the order, 14th
Don't spoilers,
position.
by the way, because people might not want to hear the spoilers.
Well, that's not my fault. Valentino Rossi down in 14th on the grid. Can't remember who took pole. Looked like Marquez last time I checked. Lorenzo was second. Suzuki were in the mix a little bit with Andrea Iannone. He was 6th when I last looked, but Suzuki haven't had a podium at the Austrian Grand Prix since 1994, and they haven't had a win since 1993 at the Austrian Grand Prix. I'll leave a rider or someone to come up and tell me who that was. I know who it was, but do you? That's the more important question. Important as well, Ducati winner in 2016, winner in 2017. 2 different riders. Can Jorge Lorenzo make it 3 years with 3 different riders for Ducati? Maybe we will even be Danilo Petrucci, Tito Rabat riding well, Alvaro Bautista, all of the Ducati runners having a load of good fun on the circuit, which basically is 4 very long straights connected by 4 very tight corners and a little bit in the middle.
There is, though, cool fab interest in the Austrian paddock because we have the latest round of the Red Bull rookies, including our very own Max Cook, taking part and racing this weekend. How has he been getting on over the start of the weekend?
I haven't a clue. I haven't watched the Red Bull rookies, actually, because strangely enough, I've been working at the Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bikes Championship paddock, Denmark. I can tell you, though, another interest out there, Scott Redding. He has been going, I think the French say comme ci, comme ça, so, nothing special, nothing terrible on the Aprilia. Of course, Scott Redding out of a job for next season, and he is looking for employment for next year. Scott Redding rumoured to be going to British Superbikes now. That would be exciting to see. On the Paul Bird Motorsport Ducati, of course, maybe he will find somewhere in World Superbikes. Rumour has it that Alvaro Bautista will be going to World Superbikes on the Aruba.it Ducati. He needs someone to shake it up a bit, even if it does mean that Johnny Ray doesn't dominate as much as he does.
But one thing that will be for sure is that we get the AC40 Pro's first race of the weekend. And as a quick reminder to the paddock, anyone who is not in the holding area for the AC40 Pro race needs to be in the holding area now. Anyone for the AC40 Pros who are not in the holding area needs to be there now. So as they get their race underway in just a few moments' time, it was declared a wet race, but it does look like it's dried up just a little bit. So we'll wait and see how slippery the action is as they go onto their green flag lap.
Who wants to take the gamble? That's the biggest point of call. Is Mason Foster going to dominate from pole position? Will Sullivan Moundsy be able to go with him now that there has been a bit of rain, a bit of a leveller? Don't go off track. It's going to be wet out there on the green stuff. Keep it on the black stuff, or grey stuff in some areas around here. But Glan-Y-Gors providing thrilling racing, and that of there is no doubt. So out onto the track, Luca Hopkins leaves them out onto the track.
But Mason Foster will start on pole position ahead of Sullivan Moundsy, with Troy Jeffrey and Luca Hopkins your second row. Row 3 is Ronnie Harris and Taylor Stewart Campbell, with Clayton Edmonds, Ethan Sparks, Orlando Phillips and Harrison McKay rounding out the top 10. Ruben Sherman Boyd is in 11th ahead of Alessandro Valente, with Jamie Woodcock, Ben Jolliffe and Keaton Payne the top 15. Greg Marshall and Jada Howe rounding out the top 17 and the grid. Unfortunately, this weekend no Johnny Garness due to an injury. Hopefully Johnny gets well very soon and gets back out onto the bike. Was leading the championship coming into it. It's been very tight at times, but in the current iteration of the AC40 Pros, it has been a slightly different story. 34 points Johnny Garness leads the championship by. Mason Foster, with a couple of victories, could move well ahead, but Sullivan Mounsey going to get stuck in, also battling away with Troy Jeffrey. So battles for the championship all around the series, getting underway in just a few moments' time as they head onto the grid. You're listening to live coverage, round 6 of the 2018 Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bike Championships. The AC40 Pros will get ready and racing in just a moment's time. Marshall's giving the last minute instructions to the riders. Nerves starting to build and everyone just desperate to get away after a slightly extended hold for a rain intervention. We won't be starting with the start lights. The marshals move to the sides of the grid, but we don't have starting lights. We've got a green flag. It went down twice in one of the earlier races. It's held up high now, drops just a once and gets underway. Sullivan Mounsey, a great start from the left-hand side of the grid and into the lead of the race. Mason Foster had a really poor start, down to third, not quite into fourth, going to hold on, but Sullivan Mounsey got a great start. They almost collided going into turn number 1 though.
Mason Foster made an absolute haulage to the start. Not such a problem for Sullivan Mounsey. Off the line like a greyhound out the traps and away and running at the front. So Mounsey leads Mason Foster in third. That looks like Troy Jeffrey. Then Luca Hopkins is fourth. Ronnie Harris is in fifth, I think he's held on to his place. And sixth to me looks like Ethan Sparks. But we'll wait and see as they come down across the line. No questions about your race leader. Sullivan Mounsey leading well as he goes through the snake. I think we should be able to call that last bit of section now as they go down into the last corner. Sullivan Mounsey leads Mason Foster, who has got his I think he's got his mojo back after that dodgy start he just pulled off. But Sullivan Mounsey leading well. Third, Troy Jeffrey. Fourth, Luke Hopkins, Ronnie Harris, Ethan Sparks, Taylor Stewart, Karen Ball, Orlando Phillips. Ninth for Clayton Edmonds, Harrison McKay, Alessandro Valenti, Ben Jolie, Jamie Woodcock, Ruben Sherman, Boyd, Greg Marshall, Keaton Payne and Jada Howe. That is your leader board. But out front, it is Sullivan Mounsey and Mason Foster.
Mason Foster starting to close in through the double apex right-handers just into the final third of this lap. Still maintains the lead, but third place is still being disputed. Troy Jeffrey, Luca Hopkins getting well stuck in as they head towards Devil's Elbow for the second time out of 9. 7 laps left to go as they cross the line, which our two race leaders are about to do now. And Mason Foster with the bit between his teeth into turn number 1. A great run on Sullivan Mounsey as Mason Foster 0.3 of a second, then the gap was over the line. They're almost side by side as they make their way into Spoon Corner, the third corner. Very tight hairpin on the Glan-Y-Gors circuit, and Mason Foster just got a great turn of speed, making up very quickly indeed. Fastest lap with a 52.2 for Mason Foster. A good 0.4 quicker than Sullivan Mounsey on that last lap. Third place still being disputed. Jeffrey, Hopkins and Harris fighting for the final spots on the rostrum, but Sullivan Mounsey really holding on to the race lead now. He's going to struggle maybe to hold on for an extra couple of laps.
Mounsey looking for his first win of the year, of course, in this class. So Sullivan Mounsey definitely searching for that 25 points haulage he will be looking to take from this round. He's leading very well from Mason Foster so far. They head up out of turn 1, up the straight they will go. Sullivan Mounsey taking the defensive line, forcing Mason Foster to go to the outside. Battle for third is alive and kicking. Troy Jeffrey ahead of Luca Hopkins and Ronnie Harris. Those three are a distant third, fourth and fifth. Sixth for Taylor Stewart Campbell having a great ride. Ethan Sparks is seventh, and eighth is Orlando Phillips. But a battle at the front sees Sullivan Mounsey just about to hold on now as they flick through from the carousel. That's into turn 6 and 7. Mounsey leading Foster, and if we've said this all day, but if you can lead through here, through the snake as we call it, or the Devil's Elbow section, then you probably do have the position down to the last corner. Mason Foster lining up Sullivan Mounsley. This is his chance. Tries to make the move, can't make it work this time around. Umbrella is up, surprisingly, over on the start finish line. I wonder if the rain is still there or thereabouts. Sullivan Mounsley still leading, though. Very, very well at the moment. Mason Foster not quite making a move for the lead just yet.
Giving it a good go into Spoon Corner though. A very long run from turns 1 all the way through turns 2 and 3. Sullivan Mounsley stays central to the circuit. Mason Foster having to work around Sullivan, which makes that defence all the easier because you don't have to really position yourself. The other rider has got to work around you. Gets a decent run out of the double apex right-hander, but coming into the later stages of the lap and up towards the Devil's Elbow, it is line astern. Troy Jeffrey still holding on to third place as well. Luca Hopkins and Ronnie Harris both having great runs, but really want to dispute that final place on the podium. Still being disputed is the race lead. No change so far, but Mounty just holding on by the coattails to Mason Foster. The rain starting to pour slightly heavier and into Spoon Corner. Could this be the chance? More than halfway into this race, tries around the outside, but to no avail.
Mounty, as you say, is led now for more than half of this distance. He hasn't got long left to hold on to this lead. Mounty, the number 44, leading the 88. There's, well, not much in it. A tenth and a little bit as they go into turn 7. This is where Mason Foster seems to get a good run, but Mounty just forces him out. And again, he's in the section now where he looks like he can just hold off Mason Foster. We got 3 and a bit laps to go here. They're through the S's. Mason Foster is close, but not close enough. Down across the line, Mounty defending brilliantly into turn 1 and holding the advantage. Gets a good run out the corner. Mason Foster won't be able to do anything from there. Battle for third place. We look back. Troy Jeffrey has still got it ahead of Luca Hopkins, looking to get back on the podium again. Is Luca Hopkins having got his first one last time out? Mounty and Foster are side by side at the top of the circuit. They've got traffic to contend with now as well. Mounty, though, riding the centre line as he does so brilliantly. Traffic in the way. Oh, dear me. This is going to be very careful indeed. Mounty gets through. Mason Foster gets through. So leader safely through the traffic. And that is the battle out on circuit now. 2 and a bit laps to go.
And it is really starting to hot up. It's getting greasy. The conditions challenging. Mounty relishing at the moment through the Devil's Elbow. The number 88 in second. The 44 in the lead. Over the line they go. Trying to pull side by side is Mason Foster. Using rider's right hand side. Can't quite make it work. They're side by side on the exit of turn number 1. Up towards Spoon Corner. It's a long old run. It takes him a little while to build up to those infield parts of the corner. Mason Foster trying to go right around the outside, but can't quite find the grip to do so. They've got a few other riders to contend with as they make their way into the carousel. Once again, a lap and a half to go. Mounty just about holding on from Mason Foster, but Mason Foster all over the back of the number 44 machine.
Something they've got to be careful of, and I've just noticed it at turn 1. Mounty had a massive wobble on the inside. It's where the tarmac patch changes from one shade to another shade. It's obviously a newer versus older part, and they've just got to be wary of that. When this rain is just there as well, it's just lingering. Bit of traffic to contend with. Mounty's going to go for the inside and gets it done. So there's a bit of traffic between him now. But has he sacrificed his run up the straight? We're on the last lap. Mounty has only got a kilometre to hold on for his first win of the season. Here, as we've got yellow flags as well at some point of this circuit. That's on the exit of turn 5. Mason Foster not able to make a move there. Sullivan Mounty's got this one so far. Centre line again, riding very, very well as they come to the carousel now. Building up through here. Mason Foster looks good through here. He looks at the inside, can't make the move stick. There is traffic. There is a bit of traffic. Sullivan Mounty so far holding on. Will he be able to make the move? He's through the traffic, as is Mason Foster. They are absolutely neck and neck. This is going down to the last corner. 1 to go. Mason Foster's building. He's not going to get it. It's going to be a run to the line, but Sullivan Mounty is going to take his first win of the year. Sullivan Mounty beats Mason Foster. Johnny Garnis will be smiling, no doubt, as well. Third place for Troy Jeffrey. 4th, Taylor Stewart Campbell. Ronnie Harris we should see in 5th place when they all come through. But what a final race that was for the AC40 Pros, their final track action of the day. Fantastic stuff Orlando Phillips should be 7th. Yes, he is. Ethan Sparks 6th. Phillips 7th. Clayton Edmonds 8th. Harrison McKay 9th. And Alessandro Volante 10th. But Sullivan Mounty, it's because we interviewed him. It's because he spoke to us. Come and get your kid up here, and we made them a winner.
Well, one can dream certainly, but massive cheers from the Mounsey family as Sullivan came over the line. A very proud mum, and no doubt Simon Mounsey as well, also going to be extremely pleased, and with a debut victory in the AC40 Pros. Good results overall. Mason Foster in 2nd and Troy Jeffrey in 3rd, holding off a great battle with Taylor Stewart Campbell and Ronnie Harris in the end, fighting for 5th and 6th. Also good to see Ruben Sherburn Boyd also getting stuck into the racing, finished in 16th in the end, returned to the series in 2018. But more action on the way from round 4, round 6 of the 2018 FAB-Racing British Mini Bike Championships. Up next, the second last race of the afternoon already, would you believe? And it will be a cracker. The Pit Bike 140 and Moto Team riders heading out onto the circuit in just a few moments' time. But thank you very much for tuning in on the FAB-Racing website, on motorsport.radio and on social media. Thank you very much for all of your comments so far. We will read out some more of those very shortly indeed. But it's great to see the enthusiasm that everyone, trackside and at home, Kiko, have got for the riders running this weekend.
Always good fan base here at Cool Fab, and we should stress it is free to come along, so make sure you do. And around near you, it is Wilton Mill in Northamptonshire. The next one at the end of August, the very last weekend in August, start of September. I think that's the 31st to the 2nd of September.
Yes.
And then the last one is the 5th to the 7th of October, because I think it clashes with the Thai MotoGP, the inaugural Thai MotoGP, and that's how I know that this is when the Cool Fab Championship is back. We should just say a massive, massive hello to Vince Bailey, Pit Bike 140 rider in the Pit Bike 140 / Moto Team race. Suffered a bit of ill health last time out. We hear he's getting better. He's not here this weekend, which is a massive shame. But Vince, if you are listening, be good to have you back at this championship as soon as possible.
Well, get well soon, Vince, from all of the Cool Fab Racing paddock. And in the meantime, the Pit Bike 140 and Moto Team riders on to the circuit now. Charlie Nesbitt and Will Harrath will start on the front row of the grid. Jamie King and Richard Holmes Williams are on row 2. Rossi Banham and Darren Anderson are your third row of the grid, with Simon Clowes, Josh Buckle, then Sean Whittaker and Sam Clowes rounding out the top 10. Jason Pugh, Scott Dootson, Andrew Giles, Mark Pollitt, Mark Prattley and then John Cook rounding out the 16 strong grid. Slightly smaller grid this weekend than we have expected at times in the Pit Bike 140 and Moto Team categories, but nonetheless it might be a slightly smaller grid, but still as ever a quality entry. The number 56 pulls up to the end of the pit lane.
Darren Anderson
will not be taking the start as they getting ready for the race start. A few people having a few discussions with each other over the grids. Look like Charlie Nesbitt and Richard Holmes Williams having a bit of a chat. Also a late arrival to the grid. Can't quite see the number as it
Simon Clowes pulls up to the grid, and then that looks like a 84 of John Cook.
So we've got two starting from the pit lane.
It's going to be like the Northwest 200 with two waves going off.
Well, we'll wait and see. The marshals just getting ready for the start of the race, and as they look up the warning, the race about to start, looking towards the green flag. A 12-lap race, this first one of the weekend. The green flag goes up, it drops away, and a good start from Charlie Nesbitt puts him into the lead of this race, side by side for Richard Holmes Williams and Will Harrath for third and fourth, as Rossi Banham, struggling to get away from the line, got towards turn number 1, then to sort of stalled and stopped. Does get on the way, though, as you might be able to hear on our ambient mics, but nonetheless a clean start by everyone eventually. Charlie Nesbitt leads, Richard Holmes Williams battling with Will Harrath for second and third at the moment, but Good lead from Charlie Nesbitt. Will Howarth really struggling.
They seem to be taking it a little bit tentatively. I don't know if it's raining again out there, but definitely, to me, Charlie Nesbitt's going off very, very well. But everyone else just down the field taking it a little bit steady. Not raining, we hear. Nothing out on the precipitation front as it's side by side. Last corner there. That was Richard Holmes-Williams coming down into the penultimate corner, trying to get a move done on Jamie King. Richard Holmes-Williams can see Charlie Nesbitt clearing off on the grass. He's dirt tracking. Wrong sport. Richard Holmes-Williams foot down. He'd lose marks for that in trials as well. So Richard Holmes-Williams doing about every other motorcycle racing sport apart from this.
Well, giving it a good go, we've also got a rider with us to help us talk through the rest of the Pit Bike 140 and Moto Team race. First of all, if you just introduce yourself and what we might normally have you on.
Yeah, my name is Harvey Claridge and I usually race in this race. I also race in the British Talent Cup and do BSB Motostar.
So Harvey, how come you're not out this weekend in the race?
Well, FP1 on Friday I crashed going into the first corner and I broke my collarbone.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Is collarbone breaking a bit of a trendy thing at the moment? Because Johnny Garner's done the same 2 weeks ago. I'm just wondering if I should be joining in with this fashion.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, Charlie Nesbitt leads 3.6 seconds ahead of Richard Holmes-Williams and Jamie King. Jamie King 0.8 of a second behind Richard Holmes-Williams for second place over the line. They're two really hard racers.
Yeah, they're really good to race with as well because you always have a good battle and there's always someone who ends up like on the floor in the end.
Well, hopefully that doesn't happen in this race itself, but the conditions very difficult out there. Harvey, how would you approach this?
Yeah, well, it'll probably be definitely super soft or the softest tyre they can get because like in the 70 race you saw quite a few people coming off towards the end as it started raining.
And Charlie Nesbitt now even quicker, 49.7 the best lap, last lap of a 50.0, really setting into a good rhythm. Richard Holmes-Williams still in second ahead of Jamie King, although we've got Will Howarth and John Buckle fighting for fourth and fifth. Simon Clowes starting to close in as well.
Simon Clowes having a really good ride out there at the moment, sixth. Sam Clowes in ninth. That's normally not the way we see it. It's normally the opposite way around, or at least they're very, very close together. But Simon Clowes at the moment showing his son how it's done. 7th is Jason Pugh, 8th Sean Whittaker, Sam Clowes 9th, Rossi Banham in 10th place. Mark Prattley giving Andrew Giles a bit of a headache really now. And John Cook, Scott Dutson and Mark Pollitt complete the top 16.
Continuing on with the race though, another fastest lap from Charlie Nesbitt at 49.6. The pace is absolutely frenetic. Richard Holmes-Williams and Jamie King second, third, Will Howarth fourth, fifth for John Buckle, and the rider now just 2/10 behind Will Howarth, which is not often something you have happen. Nonetheless, it's going to be very close.
Charlie Nesbitt's got a problem over there.
Oh, Charlie Nesbitt with
well
a problem. He's been
spotted.
riding very slowly. What do you suspect it could be?
I don't know.
Rain.
It's raining
as
it's
well.
definitely raining again. It's
I
definitely
think-
raining. They're taking it very, very slow. Will
Charlie's
we see
coming. There's going to be a red
Nesbitt is
flag.
in the
Ooh.
pits. Will we have a red flag situation here? Nothing yet,
But it was-
so far. So that means now, tentatively, just wobbling around. Who is that in the lead? Can't even see who that is.
Richard
Holmes-Williams.
I'm looking further down the field. That's Scott Dutson and Mark Pollitt, but Richard Holmes-Williams is taking liberties with the white lines now. Jay King is second. Will Howarth third. John Buckle is in fourth. It is definitely raining hard now. Umbrellas are popping up. Jackets are going back on. Yellow flags.
Someone's down at turn one.
Darren Anderson has gone down at turn one. That's a disaster for him. Started from pit lane, of course, anyway. But Richard
Rider just picking up the bike.
Ryder
getting
is
back on
okay.
it.
Yeah, we should say that. Ryder is okay. Someone else down at the far side of the circuit. Can't see who that is, but Richard Holmes-Williams.
Jay King, I think.
Is that Jay King?
Ooh.
Yes, it
Yeah.
looks like it. It looks like the diminutive stature. There's Simon Clowes is touring at the
Oh, and
top.
there's another one.
We've got Skittles. We've got Skittles here in this conditions now. So really difficult. Richard Holmes-Williams has got to play it safe because he's getting to them first. Riders losing the rear end, back end and everything. It's all very, very tentative. Please, Richard, don't go and blow this. He must see the lead he's got. It's a huge lead out front. We're waiting for an eternity. Will Howarth 7 seconds behind. Just take it steady. Can't win the race in a lap like in these conditions.
But you raced in these conditions last time out, Harvey. This is oh so difficult.
Yeah.
Especially even if you're not on those extremely soft tyres you try and use. What is it like riding when it's just so greasy but you just can't get any grip either way?
At Red Lodge I went out on slick tyres in the first session to see what it was like in the wet, and it was very difficult. They were sliding everywhere, so I'm surprised how well Richard Thomas Williams is doing right now. So it can't be too bad.
For me, there's no other way I can explain.
Oil down at turn 1 as well.
I don't know if that's oil, if it's lack of adhesion. That's normally what that flag is. Very old school would be oil, but the only way I can explain to listeners of how ride on a wet circuit is on dry tyres without being a bike ride is if you have no tread on your trainers and you're walking down a precinct in a shopping centre, it's just wet and you've got no grip, you're just walking on edge, taking it so tentatively. Very, very difficult conditions. Will Howarth is just trundling round, really. It's all side-by-side action downfield, though. Looks to me like Jason Pugh.
Charlie Nesbitt's going back out as well.
As he puts different tyres on, perhaps?
I don't think it'll give him that much of an advantage now, though, with 5 to go in the lead that Richard Thomas Williams has. We've got a rider down at the back, and that's a smoking machine as well. So what has gone on there? We don't know who that is either. But
rider is up, trying to get the bike back up, but unfortunately, just a little bit of smoke coming from the rear end. Yellow flags at the final turn.
John Buckle, I think, because Rossi Banham has just gone ahead of him on the timing screen. So we do have a lot of rain out there at the moment, and it's not rain that is actually making the track overly wet. It's just lying on the surface, which is the problem. It's not standing water in places or on apexes or on white lines. It's just you can't really see. It's a bit like ice. It's so fine. It's just leaving a film of water over the track surface now.
It must be. I mean, you mentioned already, Harvey, how difficult it can be to ride in these conditions. But in a race, especially, we had this at Red Lodge. You mentioned as well. How does that affect your mindset in terms of just being out there? Is it just survival of the fittest, or?
Yeah, well, sometimes it's just psychological rain, so it's not actually done anything to a track. But here, I think it's definitely pretty wet track out there, so it's going to be a difficult race. I'm surprised they haven't stopped it like they stopped the 70s, so it can't be too bad out there.
And I suppose the senior mini motos out next as well. That will affect them even more. Yeah,
they'll probably be putting their wets on right now, just in case.
Another thing is as well, I don't believe this race was declared wet. It's only the AC40 Pros that was declared wet. So was it all of them are wet now? We're understanding all of them are wet. So maybe that's another reason why it won't be stopped, because it was already declared a wet race. We are not quite sure here what and how Richard Thomas Williams is doing it, but he has pulled out a 26.3 second lead. There's only 3 laps to go, so unless he decides to make a mistake, which I hope for his sake he really doesn't, Richard Thomas Williams, he's lapping 7 seconds quicker. He is on the edge here.
Well, that will be explained. Will Howarth in the minutes, in the 62 seconds at the moment, where Sean Whittaker at 58.8, at 58.9 for Sam Clowes, Jamie King also at 58.5. They're all closing into each other. The battle for 4 getting very close, also side by side. Richard Thomas Williams having to fight through the traffic.
Don't forget as well, Jamie King, we expect him to be lapping quicker because he was further down. He crashed in these conditions. Rossi Banham 57.7. He is quickest on track apart from Richard Thomas Williams by miles. So Richard Thomas Williams just got to take it easy. We've seen him make a couple of uncharacteristic errors already this year with a lap and a half to go. Hopefully all will be okay for Holmes Williams. Will Howarth only just coming across the line now. I think, in all fairness, Richard Holmes Williams and Will Howarth are going to finish as they are, but Sean Whittaker in 3rd place. So Mia's got enough time over Jamie King. Yeah, they're not lapping too dissimilar. It's a 10th in it here or there. So first 3 bikes should be as they are with this 1 lap to go. And where is Richard Holmes Williams?
He's just coming through turn number 2, looking behind himself.
Yeah, I think what he's doing there is looking just to see, does he need to push anymore? Now, if he hasn't done that already, that would have shocked me, because you can feel when you're going quick and maybe taking liberties with that circuit. So Richard Holmes Williams now, he's knocking it off a little bit. He knows he doesn't have to push too much. Charlie Nesbitt's riding around the outside of, that's Darren Anderson there, getting back up after his uncharacteristic crash at turn 1. But Richard Holmes Williams not wanting to get dicing with any traffic. He is almost a whole lap ahead of Will Howarth, if we are following this right, and I believe we are. Will Howarth starts his last lap now. Sean Whittaker is closing massively, 2.4 seconds, so maybe the first three should all be on the podium. In what order, maybe the question. Richard Holmes-Williams, well, that's a job done for him, cruising to the win. So Richard Holmes-Williams takes his first win in this class this year. We're waiting for Will Howarth. Now, where are they? Will Howarth and Sean Whittaker. They're over at the far side of the circuit, coming down to the carousel now. Can Sean Whittaker get Will Howarth? You can definitely see him. Will Howarth is riding very, very slowly here. Sean Whittaker is much, much quicker, visually quicker as they come through turn 7. Down into the S's now, the snake section. It might be a move lined up at the last corner. Sean Whittaker for second position is going to have to try and pass Will Howarth. He's not going to get it at the last corner. It might be a run to the line. Sean Whittaker's going to try, but nothing this time. Will Howarth does hold on to second place. Ahead of Sean Whittaker, fourth will be Jamie King. There he goes, ahead of Sam Clowes. So despite not being ahead of his dad at any other point this weekend, Sam Clowes completes the top 5. What a weird race that one was then.
Easy come, easy goes came very easily for Richard Holmes-Williams in tricky conditions. 45.3 seconds. That's correct, ladies and gentlemen.
Got to be the biggest win of the year.
45.3 seconds, the win ahead of Will Howarth and Sean Whittaker. Sean Whittaker did run it extremely close in the end. Jamie King and Sam Clowes are your top 5. Then Jason Pugh is in 6th with Rossi Banham, Andrew Giles, Mark Prattley and Darren Anderson rounding out your top 10. Charlie Nesbitt finishing in 11th.
Got to ask Harvey whilst he's here, how is you're in the British Talent Cup, aren't you? How is that going for you this year? Obviously the first year it's being run, and you're one of the first riders in it.
Yeah, it's really good. It's a lot different from like when I do it at BSB, because you have a lot more people and it's a lot more professional, so it's very good.
And where do you think the British Talent Cup's going to go? Do you think you're going to get to the CEV when they, because I think, is it Tom Booth Amos they're supporting at the moment in that championship?
Yeah, I think you have to be at the top end, so slowly I'm progressing, but I feel that's what they will do. It would be the right idea.
And how much has Cool Fab helped you in preparation for the British Talent Cup, for MotoStar and whatever else comes in the future? Has it been a good use to you?
Yeah, I haven't been riding that long, but it's where I started, and it's been the only place I've raced before I moved up, and I've only raced mini bikes, and it's really helped a lot.
What's been the best race you've had so far in Cool Fab? If you could pick one race to relive, what one would it be?
Probably at the end of the year last season when I won the championship on the 70s.
Do you think Casey O'Gorman is riding to your level as you were last year, or is he better, or is he not quite there? How would you assess Casey O'Gorman?
I think they're better this year. The competition and the lap times, they've gone down a lot since last year. They're a lot quicker, so yeah.
And where do you think Casey O'Gorman's going to end up in the future? Do you think he's going to get to MotoGP and whatever else?
Yeah, he could do. He's a great little rider, so it'll be good to see some more Brits in the MotoGP scene.
Absolutely would. Cal Crutcher, of course, flying the flag at the moment alongside Scott Redding and Bradley Smith, although those latter two, we're not sure on their future. Cal Crutcher will be staying at LCR Honda for 2019. Last race of the day, though, I believe, is up next. Senior Mini Motos. Now, last time it rained for these guys, a lot of them started throwing bikes at the scenery. Now, they can't do it this time because there's sheep around, and that would be animal cruelty by all accounts, but also they will have learnt their lesson, Dan.
Well, you say learnt their lesson, but lightning never does strike twice, does it? It's
never.
Very difficult for some enthusiastic racers to go out and have some great action. And I'm sure that it'd be great to have you back in the commentary box for this next race, Harvey, because we definitely need a rider's insight for the senior Mini Motos. I suppose a long time since you raced one.
Yeah, I only did 1 year on. I did half a season on a mini moto because I started a lot later. I started when I was 9-10 years old. I didn't start when all the others start when they're 6, so I only did half a season.
And how did you find that half a season then?
Yeah, it was good. I was a lot slower, but then I went straight onto the 50s and took 2 seasons to get up there.
Did it feel more comfortable to jump onto a bigger bike than one of the small ones? Or?
Yeah, because I was a bigger rider than all the others.
How's the collarbone injury? what kind of pain? Is it like ongoing pain, or is it like every now and then when the painkillers have not quite kicked in yet, or how is it?
No, it's mainly just when sudden movements. It's all right when it's just sitting and resting, but it's when I just move it out of nowhere, it hurts.
How long have you got off, and have you got to be off the bike until you're back on it again?
We don't know yet.
Okay, that's annoying, and so it's thrown your kind of season in a little bit of doubt. So,
Yeah.
do you think you'll be back by the end? When's the last British Talent Cup round? Is it Valencia?
Yeah, that's not till November, so I think we'll definitely be back for that.
And if you was to make a little prediction on who's going to win the Austrian Grand Prix this weekend, just before we get underway with this, who would you put your £5 on?
Probably Marquez.
Okay, Marc Marquez for the first Honda win in 21 years, I think it is. Michael Doohan in 97, I think it was. I don't think a Spaniard's ever won at the Red Bull Ring either. It's been 2 Italians so far. What about this race? Who do you think is going to do the business? Will Howarth looking quite comfortable on that lap time there, but of course it's rained now.
Yeah, and Richard Holmes-Williams, I think he's really good in the wet on the mini motos, so I think he might have a good chance.
Well, we'll wait and see as Will Howarth starts on pole position ahead of Richard Holmes-Williams. Ryan Grant and Matt Birkin are on row 2. Row 3 is Andy Whedon with Simon Huntingford for company, with Josh Birkin and Chris Yeomans on the top 8 on the 4th row of the grid. Hopefully we get everyone lined up, ready to race just a few moments' time. We'll be starting with a flag instead of the lights for the final time on Saturday. Just one set of races today, 2 more brilliant sets of races tomorrow. You can join us live on the Cool FAB-Racing website and on motorsport.radio for more action. We get underway for the senior mini motos, a bit of a push, and we're underway. Richard Holmes-Williams, a great start on the 1-2-6, commandeering the lead into turn number 1 on the very long run towards turns 2 and 3 for the first time, especially on this first lap, Harvey, when you've got so many different riders around you. You've got to go uphill. It's a very tight braking zone. It must be quite difficult to keep the positions.
Yeah, definitely, especially because of slipstream in the first lap, the amount of riders who have a good opportunity to go down the inside of you into that second corner.
Someone is definitely giving it a good go. Matt Birkin starting to get involved, heading up into second place at the moment. Will Howarth losing a position just at the start.
Will Howarth dropping back to 4th place now. Ryan Grant riding well in second, but it's Richard Holmes-Williams who is off and running at the moment. Let's hope he keeps it on the island out to the curve. I'd stay off them if I was them in them conditions, although it may have dried out a little bit. It doesn't look like it's raining too much, so inclement weather conditions. Ryan Grant second, Matt Birkin third, Will Howarth 4th, Simon Huntingford in 5th place, Josh Burke in 6th, Chris Yeomans in 7th. We haven't got any Andy Whedon out there, so Andy Whedon not taking to the circuit, but Richard Holmes-Williams is your leader by about 0.9 of a second from Ryan Grant, your series leader.
Giving a good fight with the Matt Birkin and Will Howarth, though a little further back, side by side into the carousel. Such a long left-hander and then the double apex right-handers having to transition the bikes. Very difficult thing to do, but these are so small you can really just flick them with your foot, one might expect. Richard Holmes-Williams breaking away, second place still Ryan Grant, third place though still up for grabs with Will Howarth having made the move back into third, fourth and fifth between Will Howarth and Simon Huntingford, also being debated as they go over the line once again. 2 laps completed, 7 laps to go. Holmes-Williams with the fastest lap as someone goes down at turn number 1. Unfortunately, the front end just falling out from under them. The race continues and they continue back onto the bike and all okay. Just a slight miscalculation of the grip that you have. But Richard Holmes-Williams, a good half a second quicker than Ryan Grant, 1.4 seconds now the lead ahead of Ryan Grant. Will Howarth though in 3rd place, everyone else continuing 4th and 5th between Matt Birkin and Simon Huntingford. When you're this close with so many, sort of the adrenaline really running, it must be a temptation to try and make a late lunge, but you've just got to hold back, Harvey.
Yeah, I think he's Richard Holmes-Williams getting away with it now. He looked like he made a little mistake there, but he just seems a lot quicker on these laps than the other riders. nearly a second quicker that lap.
1.2 seconds he's just pulled out on that lap. His gap is up to 2.6 now, so Richard Holmes-Williams really starting to pull away. Ryan Grant in second place is your championship leader though, and it's those second and third places that matter when the likes of Richard Holmes-Williams are not scoring wins. So Ryan Grant, really consistent championship so far. Will Howarth likewise in third. Just Will Howarth could cut the mistakes out a couple of places, he'd be right in that fight as well. Of course he is still there.
He is still there, and the riders continue around the circuit. We've lost one back into the paddock as well. We're not sure who that is, but we'll get confirmation of that in the next few laps. With Richard Holmes-Williams over the line, and 4 laps completed, 5 to go, nearing half distance in this race already. 52.561, leading this race ahead of Ryan Grant to the tune of 3.988 seconds. Will Howarth in third, with Simon Huntingford due to come over in fourth place at the moment. It's all still circulating very nicely as the sun's trying to break out at the Welsh circuit. Looking to the rest of the season for yourself, Harvey, obviously you'll be doing the British Talent Cup later on in the season. Are you going to be coming back trying to do some more cool fab as well? Have you got any other racing planned?
Yeah.
Your collarbone, obviously.
Yeah, when it's mended, we'll probably maybe do Wilton, but that's a push. So probably definitely do the end of the year at Tattershall.
And you've had a decent season so far, some great scraps. What have been your real highlights?
Well, cool fab, my highlights probably been where Max Cook at Red Lodge. That was a really good race.
And any other highlights from the season in British Talent Cup as well? Or?
Yeah, I've been having some good races at all the meetings in BSB and Talent Cup with Aidan Davey and then Jodie Fieldhouse at BSB.
She did the first round of the series in cool fab as well this year.
Yeah.
Well, as we continue on with the race, Richard Holmes-Williams, the 126. Not quite as quick as he was on the last few laps, still though making progress. 5.3 seconds the gap now extended to. Will Howarth in third. Simon Huntingford only a second and a half behind Will Howarth for third and fourth. So the battle for that starting to close in, and Will Howarth does sometimes like to drop the bike every now and then, so we'll try and keep it in at third at the moment. But through Devil's Elbow, Simon Huntingford, the 47. And as I say that, Simon Huntingford struggles with the front end. Oh dear, that's a shame for the 47. Back on the bike, underway, no position lost, just a bit of time. But what was I saying? As soon as I was saying Will Howarth has a bit of a struggle every now and then, so it has a few moments, not just for the number. Your
turn for the commentator's curse this weekend. Dan Marr there, all complaints off to him, the operations director at Motorsport.media. Back at the front, Richard Holmes-Williams with a comfortable lead, 6.8 seconds now. He looks so good as well on the bike. Obviously these difficult conditions are his forte, although it does look like there's a bit more of a dry line out there now. Richard Holmes-Williams just, he's got a cruise home with 2.5 laps to go. Makes me laugh, our timing monitor says it's 19 degrees out there. I tell you, it does not feel 19 degrees out there. Maybe that might be our room temperature.
Well, 19 degrees will be a bit cold for this room at the moment, just heating up. So too is the racing out on the circuit. 2 laps left to go. Richard Holmes-Williams really has made the senior mini moto category his own. Ryan Grant, 9.4 seconds now ahead of the Ryan Grant. Will Howarth in third place, Simon Huntingford in fourth, but still.
The yellow flag's being waved momentarily there. Not sure who that was for, but definitely yellow flags being waved about. Rider pulling off to the side of the circuit. Penultimate lap will be started very soon for Richard Holmes-Williams. Just about a lap and a corner to go as he comes down into this fast end of corner. Ooh, we've got a bit of a bump on there as well as he made the apex, so Richard Holmes-Williams must know now he doesn't need to push that hard right out to the edge of the circuit. But what a fantastic race it has been. What a fantastic day of racing it has been. The last couple of races have been affected by rain, but right up until then we have had blistering action on the circuit all the way through, and Richard Holmes-Williams is cleared up. He'll have to be nipping to IKEA for a new trophy cabinet later on. He's collecting them hand over fist here through the carousel up to turn 6, and then a little jolt into turn 7 for the start of Devil's Elbow and the fast end to this lap that fires you on down to the last corner. As the last couple of riders just come through. Chris Yeomans, I think that is the number 85, starts his last lap in 5th, but no doubting your winner. A little bit of a wheelie. Richard Holmes-Williams decides he's going to create a bit of a rout at the end of the day. Richard Holmes-Williams won the previous race, has won this race now, and that will do his championship a load of good. Ryan Grant, your championship leader, through across the line in 2nd place. That'll do. Paul straight off. He isn't going round again. I'm saving my fuel. Will Howarth, 3rd place. Fantastic ride from him. Consistency is key. Simon Huntingford, despite his little crash, comes home in 4th. So as he moves his head from side to side. And Chris Yeomans should be 5th. We've just got to get him home and across the line as he comes down to the S's, hopefully keeping it all tidy as we just finish off this race now. Not long left. Last corner for Chris Yeomans as he just dips through. Job done nonetheless in 5th place. But Richard Holmes-Williams, Ryan Grant, Will Howarth, Simon Huntingford and Chris Yeomans, your final classification of the race 1 for the senior mini motos. What a day it's been here at Cool Fab. Glan-Y-Gors round 6 of the Cool Fab British Mini Bikes Championship. They are into the last little bit of this season. Just 2 more rounds to go after here. Northamptonshire and Wilton Mill round 7 at the end of August, start of September, and then a month off, hardly anything in September, and then it is October and the home of Cool Milk, the championship name. Cool Fab coming from that organisation, and it is Tattershall in Lincolnshire. Don't forget to say hello and join the conversation. Let us know your thoughts. Tell us who you're cheering on as we move on throughout this weekend. Our coverage is coming to a close for today. We will get the thoughts of Dan Marr and our guest here, Harvey Claridge, who is probably aching just being sat in a commentary box, or stood in a commentary box and not out on circuit racing around. But it is join us tomorrow, Sunday, all the races live and exclusive on Motorsport Radio and the Cool Fab Racing Championship page at Cool Fab Racing on Twitter. Harvey, we'll come to you first quickly, and first of all, how's your commentary experience been, and why aren't you racing out there?
Well, I'm not racing because of my collarbone. I've broken it up here. It's not too bad of a break, so it shouldn't be too long recovery. But then it's been a good commentary experience.
Oh, well, it's good you at least enjoyed the commentary from this weekend. Hopefully you'll come and say hello to us again tomorrow for more action if you happen to be free.
Yeah, I might do.
It'll be good to see you back in the commentary box. And if you're here trackside at round 6 of the championship, please do come up to the commentary box. We're just above the cafe, and you can come and enjoy some fantastic conversation with Kiko Giles and myself. But Kiko, it has been a great day of racing. The rain did intervene. We weren't sure if it was going to turn up, but it did in the end. Luckily though, it came just maybe at the wrong point, but the right point for some. Evan Belford taking his first victory of the season. Good for him, not quite so for Kato Gorman.
Not quite so for Kato Gorman at all. Of course, he crashed out on the warm-up lap of the Mini GP50 race, which was an unfortunate occurrence for him. He will be back very strong tomorrow though. He will not want to be sat around and out of races for too much longer. Adds a different complexion to the championship, another dynamic in the Mini GP70s now as well, with Evan Belford taking his first win. But that is it from Glan-Y-Gors in North Wales. We'll be back tomorrow, live and exclusive for all of the racing action. You can join myself and Dan Marr for that, and any special guests are welcome to come back. Harvey, I am talking to you there because you'll have nothing else to do tomorrow. So come and join us live and exclusive. At M Sport Radio is your Twitter handle. Motorsport Radio on Facebook. Cool Fab Racing on Facebook. It's streamed live, visually, some cameras, some graphics, some information that you will all have to digest. Catch you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in.
This is the Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bikes Championship, the official partner series to the BSB.